When you open your eyes in the morning, you are not just waking from sleep, you are awakening to creation itself. The dawn is not merely a new time, it is a sacred threshold between the unseen and the seen. In that quiet space, before the world begins to demand your attention, heaven listens to the vibration of your belief. What you assume in those early moments becomes the law of your day. To start your day with faith is to align yourself with divine order. Faith is not hope, nor is it blind optimism. It is knowing. It is the still assurance that even when you cannot see the way is already made. Every situation, every delay, every encounter is being perfectly arranged by unseen intelligence to serve your good. The moment you believe this, you release yourself from fear. The external world may appear uncertain, but faith whispers it is already done. Your faith is the architect of your reality. It does not wait for proof, it gives birth to proof. What you hold in consciousness with conviction must eventually express itself in form. So, if you begin your morning affirming God is making everything work for me, you have already set into motion a chain of divine activity. Forces you cannot see begin to move. People are inspired, opportunities are arranged, and circumstances unfold in perfect timing, all responding to your inner assumption. Many rise each day reacting to what they see, but the awakened soul knows that the world is only a mirror. If you start your day with worry, the world reflects worry. But if you start your day with faith, the world bends to faith. The key is not to wait for external reassurance. The key is to know that your inner belief precedes your outer experience. Faith is the invisible cause behind visible effects. Before you step out into the noise of the day, find your stillness. Speak within yourself the language of certainty. Today, all things are working together for my good. Every delay is protection. Every challenge is a setup for increase. This inner decree becomes law, and creation obeys. God is not a distant being arranging your life from afar. He is the life within you, shaping reality through your faith-filled consciousness. Gratitude is the fragrance of faith. When you rise in the morning and give thanks for blessings not yet seen, you prove your trust in divine timing. Gratitude declares it is already mine, and as you move through your day in that vibration, heaven rushes to confirm your belief. You begin to notice that what once felt delayed suddenly flows with ease. What seemed against you was secretly preparing the way for something better. So today, begin with faith. Not the faith that waits for evidence, but the faith that creates it. Look at your reflection in the morning and remind yourself, the power that made me is the same power guiding my steps today. Nothing is random. Everything is working for me. Walk through this day knowing that divine intelligence is ahead of you, behind you, and within you. Every closed door redirects you, not rejects you. Every silence hides divine preparation. When faith is your first thought, peace becomes your companion, and miracles become your routine. Begin your day in faith, and you will discover that God has been working all along, arranging every detail, turning every shadow into light, and making everything work for you. Each morning arrives as a quiet, sacred gift, a threshold between the unseen and the seen. It is not merely the start of a new day, but the opening of a canvas so pure and unmarked that it responds to the first strokes of your consciousness. The moment you awaken, before the noise of the world begins to pull at your attention, You are in a space of infinite potential. This space is not ordinary. It is charged with the power to create, to shape your reality, and to align with the unseen forces that govern life. The morning offers you the rare opportunity to meet the day with clarity, intention, and faith, rather than reacting to circumstances as they appear. In those first quiet moments, your mind is like soft clay, ready to take the imprint of your inner belief. What you assume in this sacred time will echo throughout your day. If your mind fills with worry, doubt, or fear, the world will mirror these states. But if you rise with faith, with certainty that all is working for your good, you set in motion an invisible current that shapes your reality to match your assumption. This is the magic of mornings, the power to establish your state of consciousness before the world imposes its own rhythm. Every sunrise is a personal invitation from life itself. It whispers, "Here is another chance. Here is another beginning. Here is a moment to declare who you are and what you believe. No matter what yesterday held, today begins anew. The past, with its mistakes and limitations, does not dictate the present. Each morning you stand at the doorway of infinite possibilities. How you step into it, whether in fear, hesitation, or in faith and confidence, determines the pattern of your experiences. To embrace the sacredness of the morning is to recognize that life itself is responsive to consciousness. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of what you hold within. When you start your day intentionally, imagining, believing, and feeling that all things are aligned for your benefit, the universe responds. Opportunities present themselves, challenges dissolve more easily, and doors that seemed closed begin to open. The morning, therefore, is not just a time of day, it is a spiritual practice, a laboratory of creation, where faith becomes form. The morning invites stillness. In silence, without distraction, you connect with the deeper currents of life. Thoughts are freshest, belief is most potent, and imagination is alive with vivid possibility. In this sacred silence, you can plant the seeds of intention, gratitude, and trust, knowing that these seeds will grow into tangible experiences as the day unfolds. To honor the morning is to honor your own creative power. It is to understand that each day is a mirror, reflecting back to you the energy and assumption you bring to it. Therefore, awaken with reverence, not merely with routine. Let the first breath of day be a declaration of faith. Let your thoughts and emotions be guided by the certainty that all is orchestrated for your good. In this sacred moment, you are a co-creator with the unseen, a conscious architect of your reality. Each morning is not just another day. It is a divine invitation to step into your power, to shape your life from the inside out, and to witness the miraculous unfold before you. The moment you awaken, your mind is like fertile soil, ready to receive the seeds of thought and belief that will shape the experiences of your day. What you assume in those first moments is far more than fleeting thought. It is the blueprint for your reality. Consciousness is the soil, and faith is the seed. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, or worry, the day will sprout circumstances that reflect those states. But if you plant seeds of faith, certainty, and positive expectation, your external world will respond in kind. The day does not begin with the events you encounter. It begins with the assumptions you hold in your inner world. Everything you experience is a reflection of the state of your consciousness, for your outer world is always a mirror of your inner belief. Upon waking, your thoughts are most potent, least cluttered by the opinions, judgments, and distractions of others. This is the perfect time to consciously choose what you will believe about your day, about your life, and about yourself. You may not yet see the proof, but that does not diminish the power of your assumption. Faith is not waiting for evidence, it is the act of assuming the reality of what you desire before it manifests. To rise in the morning and declare within yourself that today is filled with opportunity, favor, and divine guidance is to set into motion forces that the senses cannot perceive, but that the universe cannot resist. The day unfolds to confirm what you assume in the quiet of your mind. The law is simple. Your outer world cannot rise above the nature of your inner convictions. If your first thoughts upon waking are aligned with fear, limitation, or negativity, the world will conform to that vibration. Conversely, if your first assumption is that all is working for you, that you are supported, guided, and favored, then the day will reflect those truths. This is not speculation, it is the natural response of consciousness. Life cannot contradict your inner reality. It is bound to mirror it. Therefore, every morning presents a choice: to assume consciously or to drift unconsciously. To assume consciously is to recognize the immense creative power you wield. When you awaken, you are not a passive participant in life, but an active architect of the circumstances that will manifest. Your beliefs, even before spoken or acted upon, have already begun to shape the trajectory of your day. By holding the thought, "Everything I encounter today is for my highest good," or "I am guided and protected in every step I take," you establish a vibration that organizes events, people, and opportunities in harmony with your assumption. Faith is not a wish, it is a knowing. It is a deep inner certainty that your unseen world is aligning perfectly with your desire. By beginning your day in consciousness, by planting seeds of belief and expectation, you set a pattern that the day will inevitably follow. Your inner conviction is the hidden hand that shapes the visible world, and the morning is the sacred moment when you can consciously direct it. The quality of your assumptions upon waking determines the quality of your experiences. For life, in all its fullness, reflects only what you hold as true within. The presence of God in your life is not distant or inactive. It is a living force that moves in perfect harmony with your inner state. God does not act randomly or without reason, nor does divine intelligence work against your desires. Instead, God moves through the vibration of your belief, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities to reflect the reality you assume within. Your trust is not passive, it is an active instrument of creation. The very moment you believe that all things are working for your good, unseen forces respond. What appears as chance or coincidence is simply the divine orchestration of life aligning itself with the frequency of your faith. Belief is the channel through which divine power flows. When you trust fully, when you hold a conviction that your life is guided, your faith resonates with an unseen current that begins to move all things into place. Even before you take action, before events manifest outwardly, the spiritual forces are already arranging circumstances to match your inner vision. This is why faith is described as being the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is not about waiting for proof, but knowing that what you assume internally will inevitably manifest externally. The unseen hand of God is always at work, but it works most powerfully through the instrument of your inner conviction. Every challenge or obstacle that appears in life is not a random occurrence, but a part of divine intelligence responding to your level of faith. When you hold strong belief, even the difficulties are reshaped to serve you. They become opportunities, guidance, and stepping stones rather than hindrances. God moves not in contradiction to your belief, but in alignment with it. If your faith falters, the current slows. If your trust is unwavering, the invisible hand works swiftly to arrange everything in your favor. Circumstances are fluid, pliable, and responsive to the vibration you hold. Your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions create an energetic blueprint. God in the unseen realm moves in perfect correspondence with that blueprint. When you imagine, feel, and assume the life you desire, divine intelligence begins to rearrange every detail to conform to your inner state. People cross your path who reflect your belief, opportunities appear that match your expectation, and doors that were previously closed open without effort. This is the mystery of faith. The unseen moves first, responding to your inner conviction, and the visible world follows naturally. It is essential to understand that trust is not passive waiting, it is active alignment. It is the recognition that the creative power of the universe is already working on your behalf, shaping events to manifest the vision you hold within. The unseen hand of God is most potent when your belief is strongest, for it operates like a mirror, reflecting the exact nature of your faith. Your task is simple: cultivate unwavering trust, hold fast to the inner reality of your desire, and let God's invisible power orchestrate the outer reality. When you comprehend that God moves through your belief, life becomes a dance of co-creation. You are not powerless. You are a partner with the divine. Every thought of faith, every act of trust, every inner assumption becomes the lever that sets the universe in motion. Circumstances bend, challenges dissolve, and reality itself is shaped to match your inner vision. God's work is constant, perfect, and tireless, but it always responds to the vibration of your belief, transforming your inner certainty into outward manifestation. The power of assumption is one of the most profound truths of life, yet it is often overlooked. Everything begins in the realm of consciousness, and what you assume with conviction sets the stage for all experiences. To assume is not to hope or wish, it is to accept something as already true. When you live in the assumption that all things are working together for your good, you are making a declaration to the universe, an inner decree that shapes every event, circumstance, and encounter in your life. The external world cannot resist the command of your inner belief. It organizes itself according to the pattern of your assumption. Assumption is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. You do not need to know how things will happen, nor do you need to see the evidence first. Your responsibility is to hold the reality you desire as if it already exists. When you assume that life is conspiring in your favor, the universe aligns to reflect that inner reality. Doors open that seemed locked, opportunities appear that were previously hidden, and people and circumstances begin to move in harmony with your assumption. What you hold firmly in consciousness is the seed from which your outer experiences grow. The mind naturally seeks to justify what it believes. When you assume positively, your thoughts, words, and actions are automatically guided to reflect that assumption. Even challenges and obstacles begin to rearrange themselves in ways that serve your highest good. This is the subtle yet undeniable law of assumption. Reality does not contradict your inner state. It mirrors it perfectly. Therefore, when you assume that all things are working together for your benefit, you are essentially commanding reality from within. Every event, no matter how small, becomes a reflection of that inner certainty. Most people allow external circumstances to shape their assumptions. They see a delay, a disappointment, or a difficulty and immediately assume that life is against them. But the awakened mind does the opposite. It assumes first and lets the outer world adjust to match that inner conviction. The act of assuming consciously requires courage and discipline, for it often goes against what the senses report. Yet it is precisely this act that creates miracles. What you assume in your consciousness is far more real than the fleeting appearances around you, because consciousness is the cause, and the world is merely the effect. Assumption is also a practice of imagination and feeling. To assume that all things are working together for your good is to dwell in the feeling of certainty, as if your desires are already fulfilled. Your emotions are powerful indicators of your assumptions. When you feel the reality of your assumption, your inner vibration resonates with the energy of creation itself. This alignment activates the unseen forces, orchestrating circumstances that bring your inner belief into physical manifestation. The key is consistency. It is not enough to assume once and then doubt. The mind and heart must dwell continually in the assumption that everything is harmonizing for your benefit. Each thought, each emotion, and each action should reinforce this inner reality. Over time, what was once imagined becomes your tangible experience. Life bends effortlessly to match the pattern of your assumption. The unseen obeys the law of belief, and creation always fulfills what you assume with unwavering faith. Before the world awakens in full force, before the demands, distractions, and voices of others pull at your attention, there is a sacred window of silence, a space in which the mind and heart can align with the divine current that governs all things. This is the moment to center yourself, to step inward, and to rise above the outer noise that threatens to scatter your focus and weaken your faith. The clamor of the world, its opinions, its fears, its urgencies, cannot penetrate the quiet mind that has been intentionally stilled in faith. By consciously withdrawing from this noise, you create a space where divine orchestration can move without resistance, where the unseen hand can arrange events in perfect order on your behalf. Silencing the outer noise is not merely about avoiding distraction. It is about tuning your inner frequency to the source of all creation. The world around you is a mirror reflecting the state of your consciousness. If your mind is filled with chaos, worry, or reactive thought, your day will reflect that disorder. But if you begin in stillness, affirming the certainty of divine guidance and trusting that all is working in your favor, the world begins to rearrange itself around that inner alignment. Opposition and obstacles, no matter how imposing they may seem, are powerless against the force of your centered faith. When you rise early, before the day's responsibilities clamor for your attention, you step into a sacred laboratory of creation. In this silence, you can speak to the invisible realm with clarity and certainty. You can visualize, affirm, and feel the reality you wish to see, knowing that the universe responds to the energy of your conviction. This is not wishful thinking. It is the conscious act of alignment. The outer world cannot manifest anything contrary to the vibration you hold within. When your mind is quiet and your faith unwavering, even the strongest opposition bends, shifts, and dissolves to make way for the unfolding of your desired reality. Faith thrives in stillness because it is in silence that you perceive the subtle guidance of divine intelligence. The answers, inspirations, and confirmations you seek do not come from the outer world, but from the inner sanctuary of your being. By silencing external distractions, you allow yourself to hear the whisper of direction that orchestrates all things in perfect timing. This is why prayer, meditation, and early morning reflection are not optional. They are essential practices for those who wish to live in alignment with their highest potential. The day, when approached from chaos, becomes a battlefield. The day, when approached from centered faith, becomes a stage upon which miracles unfold effortlessly. These are personal. The practice of silencing the outer noise is also an act of protection. It shields your consciousness from fear, doubt, and the energies of others that may not serve your highest good. By beginning the day in deliberate stillness, you fortify your mind and heart against distraction, allowing faith to take the lead. Every thought, every feeling, and every action throughout the day flows more smoothly when the first moments are invested in quiet alignment with the divine current. Life first ends in quiet alignment with the divine current. To center yourself in faith before the day begins is to acknowledge a profound truth. No opposition can stand against divine orchestration. What may appear as delay, resistance, or challenge is often a sign of unseen forces preparing the way for your highest good. When you begin in silence, trusting fully, you move through the day unshaken, carrying the certainty that all is already working in your favor. The outer noise may rage, but the inner stillness is invincible. It is in this sacred silence that your faith grows, your reality aligns, and miracles become inevitable. Gratitude is the language of the soul, the expression of faith made visible, and the most powerful force you can bring into the first moments of your day. When you begin your morning in gratitude, you are no longer petitioning the universe or negotiating with life. You are aligning yourself with the certainty that what you desire is already yours. To be grateful is to acknowledge the unseen as present, the invisible as real, and the promises of life as already fulfilled. It is a recognition that the divine intelligence governing your life is not distant or indifferent, but actively working to bring forth your highest good. Gratitude is the natural outflow of faith, the tangible proof that what you believe inwardly is already manifesting outwardly. Starting the day with gratitude shifts your consciousness from lack to abundance, from doubt to certainty, and from fear to trust. Most people begin their mornings by thinking of what is missing, what went wrong yesterday, or what problems may arise today. But the awakened soul begins by dwelling on what is already given, what is already completed, and what is already moving in their favor. Gratitude is not passive. It is a creative act. When you feel gratitude for your desires before they appear, you are planting energetic seeds that the universe responds to. You are effectively telling life, I trust that all is done, all is mine, and all is arranged perfectly. This vibration of thankfulness is irresistible to the unseen forces. It draws to you the people, circumstances, and opportunities that align with your inner certainty. Expressing gratitude first thing in the morning transforms your day. It changes the lens through which you perceive every experience. Challenges become lessons, delays become guidance, and what once seemed like lack becomes preparation for greater fulfillment. The mind attuned to gratitude sees solutions instead of problems, blessings instead of obstacles, and possibilities instead of limitations. This is why the practice of gratitude is so deeply tied to faith. It embodies the belief that your life is already ordered in perfection, that every detail, seen and unseen, is arranged to bring you closer to the fulfillment of your desires. To practice gratitude effectively, imagine and feel your desires as already realized. Thank life for the success you seek, the love you wish to receive, the opportunities that are coming, and the health, prosperity, and peace that are already present in divine form. Speak words of thanks, write them, or simply feel them deeply within your being. By doing so, you are aligning your emotional and mental state with the reality you wish to experience. The vibration of gratitude acts as a magnet, drawing the external world to match the internal state of your mind. Gratitude protects your faith from doubt. When you begin the day acknowledging what is already working for you, you are less likely to be swayed by appearances or temporary setbacks. It creates a shield of assurance that the divine is orchestrating all events in perfect timing. You walk through the day knowing that what is unseen is as real, as present, and as active as anything you can see. In this state, nothing can disturb your peace, nothing can diminish your certainty, and miracles become the natural expression of your inner alignment. Gratitude is therefore not simply a polite acknowledgement, it is faith in action. It is the outward expression of an inward knowing, the living proof that the life you imagine and believe is already unfolding. To begin your day in gratitude is to step into a current of divine fulfillment, to move through the hours with confidence, joy, and expectation, and to witness the unseen made visible as all things work together for your highest good. As we bring this reflection to a close, remember that your morning set the tone for your entire life. Every day offers a sacred opportunity to align with the divine intelligence that moves unseen, orchestrating everything in your favor. When you start your day with faith, when you assume the good, silence the distractions, and express gratitude as if your desires are already fulfilled, you step into a life of effortless flow and divine orchestration. The world around you is a mirror, reflecting the state of your inner consciousness. By nurturing faith, belief, and gratitude within, you transform not only your day, but your entire reality. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted, and every detail, seen or unseen, is working together to bring you closer to your highest good. And you limit all of concentration. If you believe good, so rise each morning with confidence, knowing that the power within you, aligned with the divine, shapes your life beyond measure. Trust in the unseen, hold fast to your assumptions, and let gratitude guide your heart. When you live in this awareness, miracles cease to be extraordinary, they become the natural rhythm of your life. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts with you today. May you step into each morning with unwavering faith, knowing that God is making everything work for you. Each morning, before the noise of the world rushes in, heaven opens a quiet door before you. It whispers, "Come within." For the day ahead is not waiting to shape you. You are the one who shapes the day. When you awaken, do not reach first for your phone or your fear. Reach inward. In that still moment before the sun rises fully, declare this truth. Today, everything is moving in my favor, because I am moving with God. The first thoughts you think in the morning are not small, they are seeds. Every emotion, every word, every silent belief you carry into the day becomes a law unto itself. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are the cause behind the circumstances you meet. If your morning begins with gratitude, your day will multiply it. If your morning begins with peace, your day will reflect it back. If your morning begins with divine awareness, all things will bend toward your good. God does not meet you in the outer world first. He meets you in consciousness. That moment of stillness, that whisper of faith, that inner knowing, that is where the day truly begins. When you say, I am favored, heaven agrees. When you feel everything is aligning for my good, life begins to rearrange itself to match that feeling. For what you assume with conviction becomes the movement of divine law in your favor. Every obstacle becomes a servant. Every delay becomes direction. Every challenge becomes a channel for greater blessing, because your consciousness has already decreed that all things are working together for good. So, start your morning with God, not as a ritual, but as recognition. Recognize that you and the divine are one. Recognize that favor is not something you chase. It is something you awaken within. When your thoughts are aligned with God's peace, doors will open where walls once stood. When your heart is set in gratitude, even silence will speak blessings. And when your faith holds firm in unseen goodness, the entire day will conspire to move in your favor. So, as you rise each morning, do not ask what the day will bring. Ask instead, what will I bring into this day? Bring light, bring faith, bring the awareness that God goes before you and that no moment is without purpose. Because when you start your morning with God, truly start with Him, everything without exception will begin to move in your favor. Each morning carries within it a silent miracle. When the first light of dawn touches the earth, creation is renewed, not just outside in the world, but within you. The rising sun is not merely the start of another day, it is God's quiet invitation to begin again, to shape your reality with the thoughts you choose to dwell upon. Morning is the sacred threshold between what was and what can be, between the memory of yesterday and the possibility of today. In that stillness before the world awakens, heaven offers you a clean canvas, asking only one thing. What will you create today through your awareness? Every sunrise declares that God has not forgotten you. It is His reminder that life is not static, that no failure or disappointment of yesterday can imprison your spirit unless you permit it. As the light spreads across the sky, so does divine opportunity spread before your consciousness. What you think, feel, and imagine in those first moments of awakening carries extraordinary creative power. Before you speak to anyone, before you look at your messages or recall your problems, life gives you this sacred pause, the chance to align your inner world with divine intention. The morning holds a purity that no other time possesses. Your mind is unburdened, your spirit is soft, and your imagination is awake. Whatever you choose to plant in that tender soil of consciousness begins to take root immediately. If you begin your day with gratitude, you attract harmony. If you begin your day in complaint, you invite resistance. The universe mirrors the state of your inner being. That is why it is said that how you start your morning often determines how the rest of your day unfolds. Morning is the birthplace of your day's reality. This sacred beginning is not about rituals or routines alone. It is about awareness, about remembering that you are not separate from the source that sustains you. When you open your eyes each morning, remember that you are looking upon a world that will reflect whatever you assume to be true. To start your morning with God is to start it in harmony with the deepest truth of existence, that life responds to consciousness. Your peace becomes the pattern of your experience. Your faith becomes the law that shapes your circumstances. Your inner conversation with God becomes the blueprint of what unfolds before you. So, let the morning be holy to you. Let the rising sun remind you that you are co-creator with the divine. Before the duties and distractions of the day begin, pause to listen inwardly. Feel the quiet presence of God within you, not far away, but as your very breath, your awareness, your life. Choose thoughts that uplift, feelings that bless, and visions that expand your soul. Each morning is God's invitation to remember who you truly are, the vessel through which His favor flows, the consciousness through which new creation begins. When you honor the morning as sacred, the day bows to your awareness, and everything moves in your favor. Before the noise of the world enters your mind, there exists a sacred space within you, a silent temple where the voice of God still speaks. This is not a temple built with hands. It is an invisible sanctuary in your consciousness, a place where your spirit meets the divine in quiet communion. Each morning, before the demands of the day press upon you, you are invited to enter this inner temple, not with words alone, but with awareness. Here, silence is not emptiness. It is the fullness of divine presence waiting to guide, renew, and realign your life. The world begins its chatter early. It demands your attention through devices, responsibilities, and endless thoughts. But before you let the world speak to you, let your spirit speak first. In the quiet of the morning, when the mind has not yet been flooded with noise, you have the greatest opportunity to shape your reality. Prayer, stillness, and imagination are the keys that unlock this inner temple. Prayer lifts your consciousness toward God. Stillness clears the noise that blinds you to His presence. And imagination allows you to see the world as He intends, whole, perfect, and overflowing with favor. When you enter the inner temple, you are not escaping the world. You are aligning with the power that governs it. The silence within is not the absence of life. It is the heartbeat of creation itself. In that sacred quiet, you begin to sense divine order behind all things. Your fears lose their voice. Your confusion dissolves. And your heart begins to speak a language that words cannot carry. You realize that peace does not come from circumstances being perfect. It comes from your awareness of the divine within you being unshaken. Stillness is not passive, it is creative. The quiet mind becomes a womb of new beginnings. When you still your thoughts, you allow divine inspiration to move freely. In that space, ideas come, answers rise, healing flows, and guidance unfolds naturally. Through imagination, you begin to see yourself and your life as already blessed, already whole, already guided. You become the conscious vessel of divine favor. shaping your outer world through inner vision. In this sacred silence, prayer becomes more than asking. It becomes knowing. You are no longer pleading for God to move. You are recognizing that He already has, and you are now in harmony with that movement. The words you speak after such communion carry power, for they arise not from fear, but from faith. When you emerge from your inner temple, you do so clothed in peace, strength, and divine assurance. So, before the world rushes in with its noise and demands, close your eyes and enter that sacred stillness. Let your spirit speak first. Let prayer open your heart. Let stillness center your soul. And let imagination awaken your divine authority. For when you begin your day from the inner temple of silence, you no longer react to the world begins to respond to you. Every day begins as a blank canvas, and the first brushstrokes are your thoughts. The quality of your inner dialogue in the morning determines the rhythm of your day. When your thoughts are aligned with divine order, peace becomes your atmosphere, clarity becomes your guide, and favor becomes your natural flow. God has designed the mind to be a powerful creative instrument. What you dwell upon in consciousness begins to take form in your experience. That is why the morning is so crucial. It is the sacred moment when you decide whether to tune your inner world to harmony or to the noise of fear and distraction. To align your thoughts with divine order is to remember that there is an unseen intelligence governing all things. It is to acknowledge that your thoughts are not isolated. They are living currents that either move in harmony with divine purpose or against it. When you awaken and immediately fix your attention on problems, delays, or lack, you unconsciously invite those patterns to unfold throughout your day. But when you awaken and deliberately anchor your mind in gratitude, peace, and faith, you set in motion invisible forces that align circumstances, people, and opportunities in your favor. Divine order is not chaos. It is perfect sequence. It means that everything unfolds in right timing and perfect alignment when your thoughts are in agreement with truth. Every morning you have the choice to surrender to divine order or to the disorder of the world. Surrendering to divine order does not mean becoming passive. It means trusting that life is moving for you, not against you. It means holding thoughts that uplift rather than deplete, seeing through eyes of faith rather than fear. When you dwell upon divine ideas, love, abundance, peace, strength, you invite those very qualities into your day. Thought is creative, and the universe mirrors what you sustain in awareness. If your inner dialogue begins with worry, the day will reflect tension. But if it begins with assurance that all things are working together for your good, everything will begin to shift to confirm that truth. The outer world simply responds to the vibration of your dominant thought. Aligning with divine order also requires stillness. Before speaking, before planning, take a few moments to center yourself in quiet awareness of God's presence. Whisper inwardly, all is well. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Feel the truth of those words until peace fills your heart. That peace becomes your compass throughout the day. It directs your steps, guards your emotions, and keeps you balanced no matter what arises. Each morning, you are the architect of your experience. By aligning your first thoughts with divine order, you declare that your day is not random, but divinely guided. When your consciousness is ordered, your outer life naturally follows. The day bends toward your peace, Events rearrange themselves to serve your purpose, and unseen favor goes before you. Such is the power of a mind that begins each morning in alignment with divine order. There is a sacred moment each morning when the world is still half asleep and the air itself seems to breathe peace. It is in that gentle stillness that you can most easily sense the nearness of God. To feel the reality of His presence is not to imagine something distant or unreachable, but to awaken to what has always been within you. When you rise and begin your day aware of this oneness, life begins to move differently, doors open effortlessly, people respond with unexpected kindness, and situations that once felt heavy begin to unfold with divine ease. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of living from the awareness that God is not outside of you, but within you, guiding every step you take. When you start your morning in oneness with God, you are not trying to summon His presence. You are recognizing that it never left. The sense of separation disappears and peace becomes your natural state. That inner harmony is what causes your outer world to align. For life is always mirroring your conviction. If you rise filled with worry, the day echoes confusion. But if you rise filled with faith and the quiet certainty that God is with you, everything begins to work in your favor. The world bends toward your inner certainty because consciousness is the true foundation of reality. Feeling the reality of God's presence means going beyond words. It is not about repeating prayers mechanically or hoping for comfort. It is about entering a state of awareness where you feel the divine life flowing through you. In that feeling, fear loses its grip, doubt fades, and peace takes root. The more you dwell in this awareness, the more natural it becomes. Soon you no longer seek signs or proof. The presence itself becomes the evidence. You begin to move through your day with quiet confidence, knowing that divine favor surrounds you in every moment. To feel God's presence is to rest in assurance, even when nothing outwardly seems to support it. It is to know that every challenge contains hidden grace and every delay carries divine timing. When you hold this inner conviction, life organizes itself according to your faith. Situations that once caused stress now reveal purpose. Relationships deepen, opportunities appear, and paths open that logic could not have predicted. The alignment happens not because you forced it, but because you harmonized with the divine order within. Each morning is an invitation to return to this awareness. Before the mind fills with tasks and concerns, pause and simply feel the life of God breathing through you. Say quietly, I am one with the presence that guides all things. Feel that truth rather than merely thinking it. Let it expand through your being until peace fills every corner of your heart. From that state, move into your day, knowing that you are never alone, never without guidance, never without favor. For when you start your morning in oneness with God, life itself begins to move in rhythm with your conviction. Effortlessly, gracefully, perfectly. Faith is the invisible current that moves through all of life. You cannot see it with your eyes, yet it shapes the direction of everything you experience. It is the quiet power behind manifestation, the unseen hand that arranges circumstances, and the divine law that responds to belief. Faith is not merely hoping for something to happen. It is the deep inner knowing that it already has. It is the conviction that even when nothing outwardly seems to support your desire, the unseen world is already working to bring it forth. Each morning when you awaken, faith is waiting to be chosen. You can choose fear or you can choose trust. One aligns you with limitation, the other aligns you with divine flow. Faith does not demand that you understand how everything will unfold. It only asks that you believe that it will. When you start your day with faith, you release the need to control and instead allow the unseen forces of creation to move on your behalf. This invisible current carries you into alignment with the very things you desire. Faith is a creative energy. It gives shape to the unseen and calls into form that which has not yet appeared. Every thought you hold with conviction, every feeling you sustain in certainty, becomes a command to the universe. The moment you believe that all is working in your favor, life begins to reorganize itself around that truth. People, opportunities, and events shift in ways that seem mysterious, but they are simply responding to the vibration of your faith. The world obeys belief. The law of life is simple. What you believe in your heart becomes what you experience in your world. There are times when faith must stand against appearances. The outer world may seem silent, progress may appear slow, and prayers may feel unanswered. Yet it is in these moments that faith reveals its greatest power. Faith does not collapse under delay, it deepens. It continues to trust that divine timing is perfect, that unseen hands are still at work arranging what the eyes cannot yet see. To hold faith in the face of uncertainty is to align yourself with God's unchanging reality rather than the shifting illusions of circumstance. The invisible current of faith cannot be forced. It must be felt. It grows stronger the more you return to stillness, the more you speak words of assurance, the more you imagine outcomes rooted in peace rather than fear. Each time you affirm everything is working in my favor, you strengthen that current. You invite heaven to move through your affairs and to bring all things into divine order. Faith is not passive, it is the most dynamic force in creation. It moves mountains, softens hearts, opens paths, and restores what was lost. When you live from faith, you no longer chase outcomes. They begin to find you. So start your morning by stepping into that invisible current. Feel its strength beneath the surface of life. Trust it completely, and you will discover that creation always obeys the quiet, unwavering power of your belief. Every day is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state of your inner world. Life does not randomly decide what kind of day you will have. It simply mirrors what you bring into it. The thoughts you hold, the emotions you cultivate, and the atmosphere you carry within yourself all echo back to you through the events, people, and experiences that unfold. This is why the morning is so sacred. It is the moment when you set the tone for what the mirror of the day will reveal. If you begin your morning in peace, gratitude, and divine awareness, those same qualities will follow you wherever you go, returning to you through every encounter. The outer world is not separate from your consciousness, it is shaped by it. Everything you experience has its roots in your inner vibration. When you wake up rushed, worried, or agitated, you unknowingly imprint that energy onto the canvas of the day. You find yourself meeting situations that seem chaotic or difficult, but they are only reflecting the disharmony you carried within. The moment you shift your inner state, the outer world begins to shift accordingly. This is the great secret of life. You do not have to fix the world. You have to align your consciousness, and the world will mirror that alignment. To begin the morning in peace is to plant the seed of divine order. When you wake and take a few moments to breathe deeply, to feel the quiet presence of God within you, and to affirm that all is well, you create a vibration that magnetizes harmony. Peace is not weakness, it is creative power. It draws to you experiences that match its frequency, gentle conversations, kind gestures, smooth paths, and unexpected blessings. You become a center of calm in a world that often rushes without awareness. The day will always mirror what you begin within. If your first thoughts are of gratitude, life will give you more to be grateful for. If your first words are of faith, you will see evidence of that faith everywhere you go. But if your morning begins in complaint, frustration, or doubt, the mirror cannot reflect anything different. The universe is impartial. It reflects consciousness with perfect accuracy. This is not punishment. It is divine justice in motion. It gives you complete creative authority over your experience. The most powerful way to shape your day is to master your inner state before the day begins. Enter the morning not as a reactor, but as a creator. Decide that peace will govern your thoughts, that love will guide your actions, and that faith will sustain your heart. Hold that awareness gently throughout the day, and you will see how effortlessly life bends to meet your intention. Situations that once would have disturbed you will lose their power, and challenges will reveal hidden blessings. The mirror of life never lies. It simply reflects the consciousness you carry. So start each morning in harmony with God, and the reflection you meet will be peace unfolding everywhere you go. When you begin each morning with God, in awareness, in stillness, and in faith, you awaken the divine power that shapes all things in your favor. Each sunrise becomes a reminder that life responds not to circumstance, but to consciousness. When your thoughts align with divine order, when your heart feels the reality of His presence, and when your faith becomes your unseen current, everything around you begins to reflect that inner harmony. The day, the people, and even the challenges transform to serve your higher good. So let every morning be your sacred meeting place with God. Let prayer be your first word, peace be your first feeling, and faith be your first decision. As you move through the day, carry that awareness like light within you, calm, steady, and unshaken. You will find that doors open naturally, favor follows effortlessly, and life itself bends toward your peace. Thank you for taking this journey of reflection and awakening. May each new morning remind you of your divine partnership with God. Begin with Him, walk with Him, and end each day in gratitude. For when you start your morning with God, truly everything will move in your favor. You have entered the hour you once prayed for. What seemed delayed was never denied. It was being divinely orchestrated for perfect timing. Every moment of waiting, every season of silence, every seeming setback was preparing the stage for your appointed manifestation. The tide has turned. What was once hidden is now being revealed. The universe, God, the unseen, it has heard you, and now it's responding. The moment you began to see yourself as chosen, everything unseen began to move. The favor that was always yours is no longer dormant. It is alive, active, and working in your direction. You are not waiting on the divine is waiting on your recognition. The instant you say within, "It is done," creation bows in agreement. This is not the season of striving, it is the season of unfolding. You are stepping into rooms that once seemed unreachable, not because you fought your way in, but because favor opened the door. Your awareness is your key. When you see yourself as favored, life becomes an echo of that inner vision. Look back and notice the alignment. The people you've met, the shifts in timing, the closed doors, all were pieces of a divine sequence designed for your good. Nothing was random. Even the silence was speaking in your favor. Every delay was divine choreography preparing the perfect moment for your emergence. Your time has come. You don't have to chase it anymore. The divine plan is not somewhere ahead, it is here, now, breathing through you. Feel it. The calm assurance within you is proof that the manifestation is complete. You are no longer praying for it, you are walking in it. Let go of the old story, the one that told you you're waiting for your turn. Your turn has come. The table has been set. The light is upon you. Every step from here is guided, every encounter meaningful, every outcome touched by favor. So stand tall in quiet confidence. Speak from completion, not from desire. Know that everything moving around you is responding to your inner conviction that it is done. The favor you seek has already claimed you. Your time has come. Divine favor is moving for you now. The appointed hour has arrived. This is not a moment that will come tomorrow, next week, or next year. It is here, unfolding right now in the eternal present. Often, we spend so much of our lives waiting for some future sign, some future alignment, some future blessing, that we fail to recognize the power of this very moment. Yet the truth is that the moment you have longed for, prayed for, and visualized has already been placed before you. It is not a distant event waiting in the shadows of time. It is alive, real, and immediate. The universe does not move on your schedule. It moves on the perfect divine timing that is already at work in your favor. Your past desires, your prayers, your persistent imagining have not been ignored. They have been carefully collected and arranged, quietly forming the circumstances, encounters, and opportunities that are now entering your experience. When you understand this, you recognize that waiting is not a punishment, but a preparation. Every experience of delay, every moment of seeming silence, every closed door has been part of a precise orchestration. The appointed hour is not random. It is the culmination of your inner alignment with the life you have imagined. The longer you have held the vision, the stronger it has become, and now it is ready to manifest without obstruction. Your inner world, the clarity of your imagination, the persistence of your faith, and the certainty of your knowing has summoned the external world to reflect the reality you hold within. To feel the arrival of this appointed hour is to step into a state of awareness that is free from doubt, fear, or impatience. It is to know that what you have longed for is no longer a possibility but a certainty. This certainty does not demand evidence from the outside world. It is felt internally in the calm assurance that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Accept. The universe responds to the clarity of your consciousness. And when your awareness aligns with the fulfillment of your desire, all of life bends toward that expression. The appointed hour invites you to see the signs, embrace the synchronicities, and recognize the opportunities that are appearing effortlessly in your path. Doors that once seemed closed are opening, people who once seemed distant are arriving, and circumstances that once seemed impossible are now aligning with ease. This is the divine confirmation that your prayers have been heard and that the life you have imagined is being brought into manifestation. Understand that this hour is sacred. It is a gift that calls for your full attention and your full acceptance. Do not dismiss it as coincidence, nor doubt its authenticity. The appointed hour is the exact moment when your inner faith and imagination meet reality, when the unseen forces of favor, guidance, and support converge to bring your vision into existence. All that you have longed for is no longer a distant hope. It is here, waiting for your recognition, ready for you to step fully into the reality you have imagined. This hour is yours, and it marks the beginning of the visible unfolding of your dreams. What occurs within you always precedes what manifests without. The world you see with your eyes is a reflection of the world you carry in your consciousness. Every thought, every belief, every feeling you entertain internally is a seed that, in time, grows into a visible reality. Too often, people look to external circumstances and demand that they change first, believing that their peace, success, or favor depends on the outside world aligning with their desires. Yet, the true principle of life is that the invisible must come before the visible. You cannot witness a transformation in your environment without first experiencing it within yourself. The inner world is the blueprint. The outer world is the construction. If you wish to see change, you must first embody it internally. Belief is not a passive state. It is an active force shaping your experience. When you believe that favor, opportunity, and abundance are flowing to you, this belief sends out a signal to the unseen forces of creation. Your inner conviction has the power to orchestrate circumstances, align people, and open doors that were previously closed. What is happening inside you is already moving in the unseen, quietly arranging and preparing the outer conditions necessary for manifestation. Often, it feels as though change is slow or delayed, but the truth is that the invisible labor of the mind, imagination, and heart is occurring in perfect timing. You are already receiving before you see. Feeling is as critical as belief. Your emotions are the energy that gives life to your thoughts. When you feel the reality of your desires as if they are already fulfilled, you propel the unseen into action. Peace, joy, confidence, and certainty act as catalysts for manifestation. When you act and think from the place of fulfillment rather than lack, you align yourself with the creative power that governs reality. The external world cannot resist the energy of someone who knows without question that their inner vision is true. You do not need to push, struggle, or force the outer world to reflect your desires. You simply need to persist in the inner state until the evidence appears naturally, and inevitably, every success, every opportunity, every moment of divine favor begins as an internal shift. The person who sees themselves as favored, prepared, and guided will always find that life arranges itself accordingly. Obstacles that appear real to the untrained eye are nothing more than shadows that dissolve when the inner reality is fixed and unwavering. The shift within acts as a magnet for the outer expression. Your imagination, your feeling, and your unwavering belief are the architects of the life you are about to experience. Understand that your inner world is sacred, and it is the precursor to everything in your outer world. As you nurture your consciousness with certainty, vision, and a deep knowing of fulfillment, You will begin to notice signs, synchronicities, and opportunities appearing effortlessly around you. The outer change is not separate from you. It is a mirror of your inner conviction. The inner shift has already occurred, and as you sustain it, the world around you will inevitably align with the new reality you have embraced. Divine favor is not something that can be earned through struggle, effort, or competition. It is not granted to those who appear most deserving by worldly measures, nor is it something that is reserved for a select few who follow certain rules or conditions. Favor is a natural state, a divine inheritance that belongs to every individual simply by virtue of existence. To live in awareness of this truth is to awaken to a reality that has always been present but often overlooked. Many people spend their lives chasing after blessings, opportunities, and recognition, believing that they must prove themselves worthy to receive them. Yet the essence of divine favor is that it cannot be earned. It can only be recognized. It is always available. It has always been yours. The key is to awaken to its presence, to acknowledge it, and to align your consciousness with the understanding that you are the recipient of a limitless supply of grace and support. When you awaken to divine favor, you understand that it does not depend on the approval of others or the shifting circumstances of the world. Favor is not measured by popularity, wealth, or status. It is measured by the alignment of your inner being with the truth of your own existence. The moment you recognize that you are inherently worthy of divine favor, the external world begins to reflect that awareness. People, opportunities, and resources appear as if by magic, yet it is the recognition of your inherited favor that attracts them. The universe is simply responding to the awareness that has awakened within you. You do not need to chase or struggle, because what is already yours is moving toward you naturally. Favor is a state of being rather than a series of events. When you live from the consciousness of favor, you no longer see life as a series of obstacles or competitions. You see it as a space in which possibilities unfold, doors open, and blessings manifest without resistance. The ones who experience favor are not always the strongest, the smartest, or the most deserving in human terms. They are the ones who recognize the divine flow moving through their lives and allow it to guide them. They understand that life itself is conspiring on their behalf, orchestrating circumstances and encounters to support their highest good. To awaken to favor is to step into a place of peace, certainty, and trust. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself, to compete, or to manipulate outcomes. You simply recognize that what belongs to you cannot be taken away, and that what is meant for you will find its way into your life effortlessly. The recognition of favor brings clarity and confidence, and from this awareness, life unfolds with ease and grace. Divine favor was never something to achieve. It was always a gift waiting to be acknowledged. The moment you stop chasing it and begin to recognize it, you enter into a new reality. Opportunities align, relationships flourish, and circumstances bend in your favor. Favor is not a reward for effort. It is a reflection of your alignment with the divine, an acknowledgement of your inherent worth, and a confirmation that the universe is always moving to support you. It has been yours from the beginning, and awakening to it is the key to experiencing its fullness in your life. Everything is aligning for your rise. Life is not a series of random events or chaotic coincidences. It is a divine orchestration in which every circumstance, every encounter, and every moment of timing is being arranged to support your elevation. Often, we perceive delays, setbacks, and obstacles as signs that we are off course. But the truth is that these apparent challenges are part of the careful alignment that precedes manifestation. The universe is not against you. It is working quietly behind the scenes to ensure that every element is positioned perfectly to bring your desires into reality. What may appear as waiting is in fact preparation. What may seem like resistance is in truth redirection toward a higher outcome that you could not have anticipated. The people in your life, whether they appear as allies or as obstacles, are also part of this alignment. Those who support your vision, encourage your growth, and inspire your progress are arriving at exactly the right time. Those who challenge, distract, or oppose you are fulfilling a necessary role, teaching lessons and opening pathways that refine your focus and strengthen your determination. Nothing is accidental. Every person, every interaction is part of the intricate design that is preparing the way for your rise. Even the timing of events, the delays, and the opportunities that seem to appear unexpectedly are orchestrated for your highest good. To rise is to step into your full potential, and the alignment that precedes this rise requires trust in the unseen. You may not yet see the end result, but that does not mean it is not already in motion. The currents of life are moving in your favor, arranging circumstances so that when the time is right, manifestation occurs effortlessly. The obstacles you once feared are dissolving, and the doors that seemed closed are slowly swinging open. Each coincidence, each lucky encounter, each timely opportunity is a signal that the universe is actively coordinating the environment for your success. Rise requires awareness. To recognize this alignment, you must be conscious of the subtle shifts around you, the signs, synchronicities, and moments of clarity that reveal the invisible hand guiding your path. When you see these indications, you no longer rely solely on effort, force, or struggle. Instead, you act in harmony with the flow that is moving all things toward your elevation. This is the divine law. The inner vision and conviction you hold attract the external alignment needed for its fulfillment. Your rise is inevitable because everything within the universe has been directed toward it. The timing is perfect, the conditions are prepared, and the support is in place. The alignment is not something you must create, it is something you must recognize, step into, and move with. Circumstances are bending, people are appearing, and doors are opening in precise accordance with the vision you have cultivated. The evidence of this alignment may not always be immediate, but it is constant and unchanging. The universe is calling you forward. It is inviting you to step into the fullness of your purpose, to claim the opportunities, and to walk confidently in the manifestation of your dreams. Everything you need has been arranged. Everything is ready. Your rise is not just possible, it is assured. You are living in a moment where divine orchestration is moving on your behalf, and all that remains is for you to acknowledge it, align with it, and rise into the reality that is already waiting for you. Your confidence is the proof of arrival. It is not found in the accumulation of evidence, the approval of others, or the achievement of external milestones. True confidence is born from the inner knowing that what you seek has already been fulfilled within your consciousness. The moment you cease to doubt, cease to worry, and stop chasing after outcomes, you are no longer living in a state of anticipation. You are living from fulfillment itself. Confidence is the signal that the inner reality has been fully embraced, and that the outer world will inevitably conform to that inner truth. It is the quiet, unwavering assurance that you are exactly where you are meant to be. and that all things are aligning in your favor. Many people mistake struggle, effort, and striving for progress, believing that action alone will produce results. Yet it is not the outward hustle that proves arrival. It is the state of mind, the consciousness of completion that sets the universe into motion. When you are confident, you radiate an energy that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities to you. You no longer chase or manipulate life to meet your expectations, because you know, without question, that the fulfillment is already yours. The outer world is simply reflecting the inner conviction that has been cultivated over time through belief, imagination, and persistent awareness of your desires as realities. Reality. Living from fulfillment means that your sense of peace and certainty is independent of your surroundings. You are no longer affected by setbacks, delays, or the opinions of others, because your reality is anchored internally. Confidence is not arrogance or blind optimism. It is the deep awareness that you are already complete and that everything required for your next step is being provided in perfect timing. The absence of doubt and worry does not indicate ignorance of challenges. It indicates mastery over the inner state. It is the conscious choice to inhabit the reality of your desires before the physical evidence appears. The proof of arrival is subtle yet undeniable. It manifests as calmness in the midst of chaos, clarity in the face of uncertainty, and joy in the present moment, regardless of circumstance. Confidence allows you to act decisively, to speak from authority, and to move through life without hesitation, because you are not operating from fear or lack. Instead, you are operating from the recognition that what is yours cannot be denied, delayed, or diminished. Every thought, every feeling, and every word is aligned with the reality you already inhabit internally. When you understand this principle, you realize that confidence is not a result of achieving, it is the cause of achieving. By embodying the state of completion, you magnetize the outer conditions to match your inner reality. The absence of doubt, the relinquishing of worry, and the refusal to chase are all indicators that the inner work has been done and that arrival has already taken place within. Life becomes effortless because you no longer strive for what you already possess. You simply recognize it, live it, and allow the world to reflect it back to you. Your confidence is the proof of arrival. It is the living testimony that the inner shift has occurred, that fulfillment is present, and that divine favor is actively moving on your behalf. To be confident is to know that the destination is already yours, and to live from this state is to walk in the manifestation of your highest vision. The evidence of favor is peace. True favor is not measured by wealth, recognition, or the applause of the world. It is measured by the quiet, unshakable sense of inner calm that exists even before circumstances align externally. When you experience this peace, it is a signal that divine order is at work in your life, orchestrating events and arranging people and situations to bring about your highest good. The world may appear chaotic and challenges may still present themselves, but peace within is the unmistakable sign that the unseen forces are already moving in your favor. It is the proof that the universe is responding to your inner alignment and that blessings are on the way, waiting to manifest in their perfect time and form. Peace is the first indication that you are no longer struggling against life or attempting to force outcomes through effort or worry. It is a state that arises when you trust in the divine intelligence that governs all things. When you surrender resistance and stop attempting to control every detail, you create a space for divine orchestration to work freely. The calm that fills your heart in these moments is not passive. It is a dynamic presence that signals alignment, assurance, and the certainty of fulfillment. Life moves most effortlessly when you inhabit this state of peace, for the universe always mirrors the consciousness you maintain internally. To experience this peace is to know that the world is not working against you but for you. The doors that seem closed, the delays that feel frustrating, and the obstacles that appear insurmountable are all temporary appearances. Beneath the surface, everything is rearranging itself in accordance with divine favor. People are being positioned in your life at exactly the right time. Opportunities are being prepared to appear naturally and effortlessly. Circumstances are aligning to support your elevation and the realization of your desires. Peace is the recognition that these movements are already happening and that your role is to remain in a state of quiet assurance, not frantic struggle. When you cultivate this inner peace, it becomes a lens through which you view all experiences. Challenges no longer provoke panic or anxiety. Setbacks no longer shake your faith. Instead, every situation is seen as part of a larger pattern that serves your growth, expansion, and ultimate good. This peace is not merely the absence of conflict, it is the presence of understanding. The recognition that the unseen forces of favor are active, and the confident knowing that life is unfolding in perfect order. It is the inner confirmation that you are aligned with the flow of divine grace and that everything necessary for your rise is already in motion. The evidence of favor is therefore not external validation, but the calm assurance within. When you are at peace, you are in harmony with the divine plan, and this harmony ensures that blessings will naturally reflect outwardly in your life. The world always mirrors the inner state, and when you cultivate serenity, trust, and quiet certainty, the outer world bends in response. The more you embody this peace, the more visible the favor becomes, until every circumstance, encounter, and opportunity reflects the divine support that has been present all along. Peace within is the first, most profound sign that your time has come and that divine favor is actively moving for you now. As we come to the close of this message, remember that your time has truly come. Every moment you have spent hoping, waiting, and believing was preparing you for this very season of divine favor. The shifts within you have already begun, and the world around you is rearranging itself to reflect the fulfillment that has always been yours. Trust in the unseen, embrace the peace within, and act from the certainty that what is meant for you cannot be denied. The doors are opening, the opportunities are aligning, and every circumstance is moving in harmony with your highest good. Stand tall in confidence, knowing that favor has already claimed you, and live each day from the state of completion rather than pursuit. Your rise is inevitable, your blessings are manifesting, and the universe is actively working on your behalf. Thank you. There are moments in life when you can sense that something unseen has shifted. You may not be able to explain it, but deep within your spirit, you know the mountain that stood before you has just been moved. The resistance that once seemed unbreakable is gone. Heaven has touched the earth, and the path before you is now open. You see, mountains don't always move with noise. Sometimes they move in silence. While you were still wondering, God was working. While you were praying in tears, the answer was being formed in the unseen. You thought nothing was changing, but the truth is, everything was. The shift didn't begin outside, it began within you. Your belief changed, and that belief summoned divine power into motion. The mountain was never physical, it was the illusion of impossibility. Once your inner conviction aligned with divine truth, the mountain lost its foundation. It had to move. There were seasons you thought God had forgotten you. Times when every door closed, every effort failed, and silence filled the air. But silence was not absence, it was formation. God was positioning your steps, refining your perception, and preparing your spirit to carry what's now arriving. Now you're standing on the edge of manifestation. The air feels lighter because the burden is lifted. The delay has expired. What resisted you before is now working in your favor. You're no longer chasing, it's coming to meet you. But hear this clearly. When God moves a mountain, He's not just clearing your path, He's calling you higher. The mountain wasn't placed there to stop you, but to stretch you, to reveal the strength that sleeping faith had kept hidden. Every tear watered the soil of your next miracle. Every setback was an invisible setup for transformation. Now you must get ready for change. The version of you that struggled won't survive in this new season. The vibration of your world has shifted, and with it, the people, places, and opportunities around you will begin to rearrange. Don't resist the change, embrace it. It's the evidence that divine movement has occurred. When God moves mountains, He doesn't just shift your environment, He redefines your identity. You are not who you were when the journey began. You are wiser, stronger, and aligned with divine purpose. This is the moment to speak differently, to think differently, and to expect differently. Your faith has now become your reality. What you once imagined is solidifying before your eyes. The unseen has taken form. The impossible has bowed. The delay has turned into delivery. So stand firm in your new awareness. Don't look back to the mountain, it's gone. Don't question the change, it's divine. You're not walking into a new chapter, you're walking into a new dimension. God just moved mountains for you. Get ready for open doors. Get ready for divine acceleration. Get ready for overflow. Because when God moves, everything changes. Faith is not merely the act of believing, it is the invisible power that sets divine forces into motion. When you choose to believe despite what your eyes see, something begins to stir in the unseen realm. Every time you hold on to faith in the face of impossibility, you give God permission to perform the miraculous. Faith is the invitation, divine power is the response. The mountain may look immovable, but the moment your conviction becomes stronger than your fear, heaven begins to rearrange the terrain of your reality. What your belief initiated, divine power completes. Faith starts the process, but God finishes it. Your part is to trust, even when there is no evidence that anything is happening. God's part is to fulfill what your trust has activated. The power of faith is not in the size of your belief, but in the steadfastness of it. A single thought of certainty, when anchored in divine truth, carries enough energy to call forth a new reality. When you hold that belief long enough, the universe must comply. You don't have to move the mountain by your strength. You only have to believe that it is already being moved by a power greater than you. There comes a point in your journey where faith transitions into divine intervention. You may pray, fast, and declare, but then there's a sacred silence where heaven takes over. You can't see it, but God is behind the curtain, shifting circumstances, influencing hearts, and aligning events for your breakthrough. This is when faith becomes sight, not because you pushed hard enough, but because divine power has completed what your belief began. Mountains don't just move at random. They respond to the harmony between human faith and divine timing. And when divine timing meets unwavering faith, the impossible becomes inevitable. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The mountain that once defined your limits suddenly becomes irrelevant. You wake up one morning and realize the burden has lifted, the obstacle has disappeared, the door that was sealed shut is now wide open. You won't even remember how heavy it felt, because grace erases struggle once victory manifests. Faith didn't just move the mountain, it allowed God to remove it completely, leaving no trace of its resistance. This is the mystery of divine partnership. Faith does not demand control, it yields to higher power. You were never meant to climb every mountain through effort. Some were designed to vanish through surrender. The moment you stop striving and start trusting, the supernatural takes over. What was once your greatest challenge becomes your greatest testimony. God doesn't just move obstacles out of your way, He transforms you in the process, so that when you look back, you recognize that the real mountain was never external, it was internal. So keep believing, even when it looks impossible. Stay anchored in trust, even when logic fails. Because faith may move mountains, but when divine timing arrives, God removes them entirely, silently, completely, and perfectly. Everything you see in the physical world is a reflection of what has already taken place in the unseen realm. The visible is only the echo of the invisible. When you pray, believe, and align your thoughts with divine truth, something begins to shift in that hidden dimension long before your senses can detect it. The delay you perceive is not denial, it is divine incubation. The unseen must complete its formation before the seen can manifest. The moment you spoke faith into the atmosphere, heaven heard you, and a chain of unseen movements began to unfold in perfect sequence. The change does not begin when you see results. It begins the moment you believe. Every sincere prayer plants a seed in the spiritual realm, and that seed is watered by persistence, trust, and gratitude. While you were wondering if anything was happening, the invisible was working behind the scenes, aligning situations, rearranging timelines, and preparing the people necessary for your manifestation. What looked like silence was strategy. What looked like waiting was actually fulfillment in motion. Many lose heart because they cannot yet see evidence, but manifestation always arrives last. You do not plant a seed and expect fruit the next morning. You trust the process hidden beneath the soil. Likewise, your life is not stagnant, it's evolving beneath the surface. You may not feel movement, but the energy of your reality has already shifted. The vibration of your life has risen to match what you have believed for, and soon the physical world will have no choice but to reflect that change. When you understand this truth, you stop begging and start expecting. You no longer pray from lack, but from gratitude, knowing it is already done. The invisible realm is where outcomes are decided. That is where prayers are answered, dreams are birthed, and destinies are written. By the time the answer reaches your hands, it is old news in heaven. It has already been released. What seems new to you is merely the visible arrival of what was completed long ago. And this is why you must not measure progress by what your eyes can see. Sight can deceive you, faith cannot. Faith perceives completion, while the senses still perceive delay. The spiritual law is simple. Belief precedes evidence. Every time you hold your inner conviction steady, the unseen responds with acceleration. The universe reorganizes itself to match your consciousness. So, if you've been sensing a shift, trust it. The unease, the sudden clarity, the inexplicable peace, all are signs that the unseen has already changed position. What resisted you before no longer holds authority. The energy of delay has been replaced with the energy of release. You are now standing in alignment with what once seemed distant. Soon, what you believed in silence will speak loudly through results. What you saw only in vision will appear before your eyes. The unseen has already shifted, and now the visible must obey. The wait is over, the release has begun. Every struggle carries a hidden purpose, though it often disguises itself as pain, delay, or disappointment. The human mind calls it punishment, but the divine calls it preparation. Life's most difficult moments are not meant to destroy you. They are designed to shape you into someone capable of carrying the weight of what you've been praying for. The mountain that stood in your way was never meant to stop your journey. It was meant to strengthen your spirit. What you saw as resistance was actually refinement, a divine gym for your faith. When everything seems hard, it's easy to assume that something has gone wrong, that God has turned his face away, or that destiny has forgotten your name. But in truth, those seasons of silence and struggle are sacred classrooms. They teach you endurance, humility, and inner strength. You learn not to depend on what's fleeting, but on what's eternal. Every tear watered the soil of your resilience. Every closed door trained your spirit to look beyond walls. What felt like delay was discipline. What felt like loss was alignment. The mountain wasn't your enemy, it was your mentor. Each step uphill revealed another layer of your capacity. You discovered that strength isn't found in comfort, it's forged in pressure. Without challenge, you would never have learned to stand. Without struggle, you would never have recognized your power. The divine plan always includes resistance, because resistance refines purpose. Just as fire purifies gold, adversity purifies intention. It burns away fear, pride, and self-doubt, leaving behind only the essence of who you truly are. Think about it. If the path had been easy, your faith would have remained small. If everything came instantly, you would not have developed the patience required to sustain success. God does not waste pain. Every difficulty carries a lesson, and every lesson prepares you for elevation. The season of struggle was your preparation for stewardship. It wasn't about what you lost. It was about who you became. Now you can look back and see that the very things you begged God to remove were the same things that strengthened you to stand where you are today. You prayed for growth, and He sent situations that stretched you. You prayed for faith, and He allowed circumstances that demanded it. You prayed for purpose, and He guided you through paths that revealed it. Every hardship was a divine appointment, every challenge a disguised blessing. So, instead of resenting the mountain, thank it. It trained you to believe when sight failed. It forced you to dig deeper into divine wisdom when your own understanding collapsed. You emerged wiser, softer in spirit, but stronger in faith. The struggle didn't punish you, it prepared you for what's now unfolding. You are ready to handle the very blessing that once seemed too heavy. What once felt like breaking was actually building. The mountain was never there to block you. It was there to build you. And now that the preparation is complete, the path before you is clear. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when you can feel that something within you and around you has changed. It's subtle yet undeniable. The air feels lighter, your thoughts feel clearer, and your inner world feels calm, even if nothing external has yet transformed. This is the moment when you have stepped into alignment with what you once prayed for. The energy around you has shifted because your frequency has risen to match the reality you've been calling in. What you used to chase is now being drawn toward you, for you have become a vibrational match to your answered prayer. Every prayer you have spoken, every vision you have held, and every act of faith you have taken has been reshaping your inner world. When the inside changes, the outside must follow. You no longer operate from the vibration of lack or longing. You now embody gratitude, expectancy, and divine confidence. That shift within you sends a signal into the universe, declaring that you are ready, you have released resistance, you have let go of old fears, and the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you has adjusted in response. The things that once felt heavy are now losing their hold, and opportunities are beginning to flow effortlessly toward you. When the energy of your life shifts, everything that no longer aligns with your new identity starts to fall away. Relationships may fade, environments may change, and certain habits or desires may no longer resonate. Do not mourn their departure. They are simply making room for what matches the new frequency of your spirit. You are being refined for higher dimensions of purpose and peace. The old cannot coexist with the new. It's not rejection, it's realignment. God is pruning your surroundings so that your next season can bloom without the weight of what no longer belongs. This is not something you must force. It happens naturally when your inner frequency changes. You begin to attract situations that mirror your growth. People who reflect your new level of peace and awareness start appearing. Doors that were once closed open easily because the energy blocking them has dissolved. You are not trying to prove anything anymore. You are simply being. And in that being, divine flow begins to move. It's important to trust this phase. The in-between can feel disorienting because the old world is dissolving and the new one is still forming. But don't mistake the feeling of release for loss. You are not losing anything of value. You are gaining alignment with what truly belongs to you. The more you trust this process, the faster peace will become your constant companion. So stand still and sense it. The vibration of your life has changed. The prayers you whispered in faith have matured into reality. You are no longer striving for what you want, you are standing in harmony with it. The energy around you has shifted. The unseen has rearranged itself, and everything that does not match your new identity is gracefully falling away. The change is not coming, it has already begun. There comes a time when the story you've been telling yourself must be rewritten. The words that once described your pain, your failures, and your limitations cannot travel with you into the future you are being called to create. You cannot walk into a new season carrying the language of the old one. Every thought, every self-definition, and every memory you hold on to shapes the vibration of your life. If you keep rehearsing the past, you keep reliving it. But the moment you choose to release the old story, you make room for divine renewal. The past no longer has the authority to define your potential unless you continue to give it that power. Your old story may have been built around disappointment, times when you tried and failed, trusted and were hurt, believed and were let down. But that narrative was never meant to be permanent. It served its purpose by teaching you resilience, faith, and discernment. Now it's time to take the wisdom and leave the wounds behind. The universe cannot deliver new blessings into hands still holding on to old pain. To let go of the old story is to declare, I am no longer available for what once broke me. You shift from victimhood to victory, from limitation to liberation. Every new level of destiny requires a new level of identity. You cannot carry an old mindset into a new reality. The language of limitation, phrases like I can't, it's too late, I'm not enough, must be erased from your vocabulary. Those words vibrate at the frequency of your past, not your future. Divine transformation begins when you speak as though what you desire already belongs to you. The more you affirm who you are becoming instead of who you've been, the faster your outer world catches up to your inner conviction. This is not about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about refusing to let it imprison you. Every experience, no matter how painful, was a chapter, not the whole book. You are not the story of your wounds. You are the story of your awakening. Each loss refined you. Each delay strengthened you. Each betrayal clarified your worth. What you thought was destruction was actually direction. You are now being called to tell a new story, one written from faith, not fear. Letting go of the old story may feel uncomfortable because identity often hides in pain. But as you release those old narratives, you begin to feel lighter, your energy expands, your creativity returns, and opportunities begin to appear that once seemed impossible. You realize that nothing was wasted. Every moment prepared you for this one. So speak differently now, think differently, stand differently. The old story no longer serves you, and the universe cannot respond to the echo of who you used to be. You are no longer bound by limitation or regret. Your past was the foundation, but your future is the masterpiece. The page has turned, the chapter is closed, and your new story has already begun. There is a sacred moment in the rhythm of life when everything changes, suddenly. After long seasons of waiting, praying, and enduring, the divine hand moves, and what once felt distant arrives without warning. When divine movement occurs, time compresses. What took years to resist can shift in days, even hours, because grace operates outside the limits of human logic. The same God who allowed the waiting is the one who orchestrates the acceleration. You may not know the exact moment it will happen, but when heaven decides the time is right, everything aligns at once. The sudden doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from preparation, meeting divine timing. You've been faithful in the unseen. obedient in the quiet, and patient in the delay. Every tear, every prayer, every act of trust has been building momentum in the invisible realm. Just because you didn't see progress doesn't mean nothing was happening. It was all accumulating, and now the weight of your faith has tipped the scale. Suddenly, doors open that once refused to budge. Opportunities appear without explanation. Conversations, connections, and confirmations arrive back to back, as though the universe itself is racing to fulfill what was promised. When divine movement comes, it doesn't negotiate, it transforms. One instruction, one phone call, one unexpected meeting can alter the course of your entire life. God doesn't need time, He needs alignment. And when you've grown, healed, and surrendered enough to match the vibration of your calling, acceleration becomes inevitable. What took years of struggle begins to dissolve effortlessly, because resistance cannot exist in the same space as divine momentum. Mountains that towered over you for decades crumble in moments once grace is released. But to experience the sudden, you must be ready to move when it comes. You cannot cling to old comfort while expecting divine acceleration. The sudden requires surrender, flexibility, and faith. It might disrupt your plans or reroute your path, but it will never lead you astray. When things begin to shift quickly, don't panic, rejoice. It's not chaos, it's divine order rearranging your reality. The same God who allowed the waiting now invites you into wonder. Often, right before the sudden comes, life feels still, almost too still. That quiet is not emptiness, it's the stillness before the breakthrough. The unseen realm is finalizing what you've already believed for. Then, in one divine moment, what was withheld is released, and what was stuck begins to flow. So live with expectation. Wake up each day knowing you could step into your answered prayer at any moment. Don't let long waiting make you doubt the possibility of quick change. The longer the delay, the greater the acceleration once it begins. The mountain that once seemed immovable is already gone. You're simply waiting for your eyes to catch up to what heaven has already done. Expect the sudden, because divine movement doesn't take time, it transforms it. Every mountain you've faced was never meant to defeat you, it was meant to define you. Each challenge, each delay, and each prayer that seemed unanswered was a piece of divine preparation for this very moment. You've walked through the fire, but you did not burn. You've faced silence, but it refined your hearing to recognize God's whisper. Now the season has shifted. The unseen has already aligned, and the evidence is about to manifest before your eyes. The old story has ended, and a new one is being written through you. One filled with grace, favor, and divine acceleration. This is your confirmation that heaven has moved on your behalf. What once resisted you has released you. The waiting is over. You are stepping into divine flow, into open doors, into answered prayers. The energy of your life has elevated, and everything that no longer belongs is fading away. Stand tall, speak faith, and expect sudden change. Because when God moves mountains, He doesn't just change your surroundings, He changes you. So lift your head, breathe deeply, and walk forward with confidence. You have been prepared for this. The time is now, and the shift is real. What was once impossible is now inevitable. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for believing. Stay strong in faith, stay expectant in spirit, and never forget, God just moved mountains for you. Your breakthrough is not coming, it's already here. God bless you. I recommend, like the one who came before you, do not